Okay, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the seventh week of the 2025 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Weekly Football Coaches Video Conference presented by Wells Fargo. I'm Lynn Thompson. I happen to be the strategic advisor for the MEAC, and I'll serve as your host for today's question and answer session. As always, before we begin, I'd like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin by asking each head coach questions about the previous matchups and the upcoming games before opening the call to questions from the media. For this week's session, media reps will all be limited to one question per coach with additional opportunities provided as time permits. To ask a question, as always, simply click the raised hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. With that being said, let's get ready to start. This past week, 4 league teams were in action and 2 teams enjoyed a well-deserved bye week as we continue the final weeks of non-conference scheduling. We inch closer to the ever-important MEAC conference play and the race to the Celebration Bowl. This morning, we'll get a chance to hear it all firsthand from our head coaches on each of our team's performances, and we'll kick things off first by heading over to the Mecca for a visit with the head coach of the Howard University Bison, Coach Larry Scott. Good morning to you, Coach Scott. How are you today?
Good morning, Lynn. How we doing?
You look rested, man.
Hey, man. No, well, a little bit. Got an hour or 2 extra sleep, but not a whole lot, man. We still had a lot of work to get done, but fired up and excited to get back going.
Well, Coach, you talked about what you were going to do last week and getting some rest. You said you were going to enjoy a much needed week off after a tough one last week at Richmond, but you said the week would give you a chance to rest, heal, and handle some student athlete responsibilities and get ready for a very good Sacred Heart team in Fairfield.
Yes, exactly right.
How was the week off?
Really? It was really good. I think we did a really good job of winning in all of those areas, right? We talked about, man, being responsible, being accountable to the details and the little things that we're going to actually get done. And I think the guys, they had the right mindset and mentality towards what the bye week was. They understood what, we needed to get done. They understood the nature of which we came out of that game. The scoreboard didn't reflect it, but in a lot of areas we won and we did exactly what we wanted to do. But again, there's only victories, and it showed that we had work to do. And we attacked that in all those different areas, with a championship mindset. And I think we had a really good week and came out of the bye week with a win.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you what, the Sacred Heart is a tough football team. Let's talk about them for a moment and also your Bison football team.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about them.
Yeah, they're gritty. They're a gritty bunch. Now, no matter what happens, you go back and you watch them play. In every game they're in it. It's been a 4-quarter ball game every week with this team when you watch their games. There's been teams that have had the lead on them and then came out and were hot and did all those things and then kind of found a way to fizzle. This is a team that's going to give you 4 quarters of a football game. High energy. Those guys strain on tape. They play hard. They play true to the identity that they built there at Sacred Heart. So you better be ready to come off the bus and be ready for 4 quarters and beyond if you need to. But this is not going to be a team that ever feel like they're out of it. And that's kind of how we're built too as well. So it's kind of going to be our will versus their will. We have a long bus ride up there, 6 hours. So it's going to be about our mindset and mentality and how we prepare this week and understand what we're getting ourselves into. This is going to be a 4-quarter physical ball game. We're going to have to execute at a high level. We're going to have to not turn the ball over, take care of the football, and have them play Howard brand football for 4 quarters or beyond if need be. And with the travel that we have, 6 hours on the bus, getting there and then turn around with a 1 o'clock, game. So it's going to be an early wake up. The turnaround is going to be really fast. And we're going to have to be locked in and focused and not slow roll or slow start into this game and then be ready to finish. So it's definitely going to be a really good test coming out of the bye week of where we are and what our mindset and mentality is all about right out the chute.
Okay, Coach, I'm sure you'll be ready for this one. So hold on, I got you warmed up for a couple of questions. That's it for me. As a reminder, please use the raised hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your questions to this one for Coach Scott this morning. First question for you, Coach, comes from Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Good morning, Coach Scott. How are you today?
Wayne, good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. So, Coach, You guys have been playing really, really good defense over the last few games, and also you guys have been excelling in that run game. My question for you today is, over the bye week, have you guys really talked or discussed a little bit about how you can utilize your passing game a little bit more in terms of, one, yardage, but also just using it a little bit more to supplement that good run game that you guys have had?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Wayne. I'm glad you noticed that. And I think anytime you take a bye week and you take a pause, you actually go and you look at you extenuate the positives, right? And continue polishing and continue working and continue emphasizing those, and then you attack your weaknesses. And some of the things that you want to see some improvement in. And so that's exactly what we did, as far as being able to match that up and play complementary style of football. But, the thing about the passing game is you got to throw and catch. You got to do basic things really, really well. So we kind of went back to the drawing board just on some basic installs and some basic fundamentals and route depth and efficiency and those type of things that way. So yeah, we definitely is an area that we want to put some focus in an area we want to see some improvement in as need be. The thing I kind of kicked myself about in that last game, we ran the ball 53 times. I should have probably ran it 55 times. 2 more times. So at the end of the day, you're going to lean hard on how you're built. And I think one of the things we want to make sure we're continuously harping on and being built around is physicality and toughness. And the way you do that is you make games, line of scrimmage games. And we're going to continue to do that. And we'll let the pass game come as it needs, to help us win.
Coach, I appreciate you, and good luck this week as you guys go up there and play Sacred Heart.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Wayne. Now the next question comes from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everyone in Washington are well. Can you talk about health and strength as you've had a bye week and you gear up for a game coming up this week? But just give us a status on health and strength and just the overall feeling and mood of the team.
Yeah, James, as a head coach, you're most concerned with that. Especially when you roll right out of training camp. So, football is cumulative. So you have to make sure at the end of the day, you have a really good way of charting, the amount of contact and things that are happening, because you also want to maintain student welfare and safety and all those type of things and what you're doing and how you do things. And you can't be a football team that, prides itself on playing physical and not being physical. So, we have to make sure we're monitoring that and doing that in a healthy way and doing it the right way as well. So this bye week for us couldn't have came at a better time after, training camp and then roll right into FAMU and then roll right into the season the way that we did. It came right at a time to allow these guys to heal up a little bit, yet still get the work that's built true to our brand done over a couple of days of practice. But so we got that kind of work done, but it was a fine line. There was a lot of balance put into that, whether it was rep counts, certain guys only needed certain reps. Hey, we want to still practice the way that we do and hold the standard very high in which we do in practice. But a guy may, instead of taking 6 reps, he may take 4. Instead of taking 4, he may take 2. So there's balance in doing all of those things and monitoring how we're doing that and what we're doing to make sure we still get done what we need to, yet get our guys back healthy and feeling good and feeling as strong as you can. I told the guys yesterday, coming out of this bye week now, your body is going to feel right now, it's going to feel as good as it's going to feel the rest of the year. So get the mindset about that too. Right, wrap your mind around that. You're going to feel as good as you feel right now. That's the best you're going to feel all year. So let's fix that in our minds right now to understand what is in front of us, and the level and mindset and mentality that we're going to have moving forward. So always considered, but to be true to our brand, that's a level of toughness, both physically and mentally, that we have to possess.
Thank you, Coach. Quickly, Sacred Heart is a club that has played some HBCU football teams. When you think about Sacred Heart, what do you see from them without getting too deep into schemes and some of the things you want to keep? But what do you see from that club?
I see a mentality. That's what comes across to me. Again, like I said, they never feel like they're out of it. There's teams that have come out and just kind of exploded on them early. And these guys just kind of weathered the storm and fought all the way back to win a lot of those games too, not just get back and make them close and tight. I know they lost in a close ball game this weekend, but it's been like that week in and week out for them. So they're a team that's going to test you. They're a team going to be where they're supposed to be. They play with a high level of detail and they do what they do, but they're going to test you because they have a will to win. And it seems like their will never shuts down. They never feel like they're out of a game or or it's going to be a four-quarter battle. We better respect that, understand that that's what that's about. That's what we hold ourselves true to, too. So it's going to be our will versus their will. And the thing about it, like I said, it's going to be a fast turnaround. We got to come off the bus humming, ready to go, and make sure we're built to last and go all 4 quarters.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, James. Our next question comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Thank you, Lynn Thompson. This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Scott.
Doc, how we doing? Good to see you, sir.
It's good to be seen. I appreciate that. Been out trying to make it happen. I was up in your part and gave you a call, but I'm sure you were taking care of business. I was up there for a Dean's Conference with the HBCU R2, R1s. So just gave you a ring. I didn't know if I'd be able to catch you. But besides the point, what I wanted to ask you a little bit about whether it was there in person to check on you or whether it's now is when you look at Sacred Heart, their last 3 games, they've been able to put up 30-plus points. But your defense, as talked about a couple of weeks ago, has been very stout and probably one of the mainstays of what you're being able to do with your team. What do you see in terms of that matchup of what your defense has to continue to do to dwarf offensive schematics that put up points? What do you want to see them do in this matchup, or what do they have to do in this matchup?
Man, look, just play true to our identity. It's not about what they do; it's about what we do. It's about how we're ready to play. Are we playing with the level of detail and level of physicality and all of those things that we talk about, putting our body on people and tackling and doing those things. So this is more about us than what they do schematically. I mean, obviously we got to come out and recognize formations, get lined up on the right people, get in the right calls, execute the calls, and do that type of things. But the thing that I love about what we've been doing defensively is playing a style of play, playing very physical, striking fear, which is what our defense talks about doing, and being able to hold true to what that is. And that's all we're going to lean on. Nothing's going to dictate us being able to play true to our identity. And as long as we go do that, we're going to feel like we always give ourselves a chance to minimize slow down offenses to win. And so that I don't think anything different from that standpoint of whoever it is that we're playing. It's about us. And we got to raise our level of the standard and raise our level of the identity and play true to it and hold to it each and every week. And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do. So the challenge is always doing that. And we make it harder on ourselves here Monday through Friday. Then we hope opposing teams will have a chance to do on game day. So it's about the standard that starts high. And you started yesterday in yesterday's practice and will be maintained all the way through to game day. So it's really about us just playing our style of play and the way we want to do it and dictate things the way that we want to our team. So guys just got to raise that level and be ready to go do that.
Mr. Lynn Thompson, can I have a quick follow-up?
We got time for a short one.
Yes. Just wanted to ask you if you could say one thing about your defense. What are they really doing well?
Striking fear. It imposes a lot of things, but that's identity.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, Doc.
Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Steve Gaither, you're up. Unmute yourself.
I'm doing well, man. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, we're a traveling group. We only play 4 times in DC, let alone playing at home. So we're a traveling group. We understand what that takes, and we kind of have a submarine mentality when it comes to that. We kind of insulate ourselves. It's all about where you place your energy, where you choose to put your energy. We want to place our energy on winning, place our energy on execution, place our energy on ourselves, and being accountable to each other. And really not play any of that, attention as it pertains to what matters most in the game. So we spent a lot of time this offseason and all those type of things focused on building that type of mentality as we've had some experience before that kind of led to other things. And so that was part of the development of the hard reset of our football program too as well, learning how to rechannel and refocus our energy into things that matter. And that's playing winning football. And so if anybody tries that's a spirit of distraction, keep it away from you, focus our energy on us and pay attention to the things that we need to do to win the game and go change our clothes, take a shower, get on that bus and go. That's all that's going to be our focus. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Steve. Coach, that's it for us. You can get back to work today. Thanks so much for giving us your time today. Howard University is going to be back in action this week on the road at Sacred Heart, Saturday, October 11th at Campus Field in Fairfield, Connecticut. 1 p.m. kickoff on ESPN+. Let's roll on over to Durham, North Carolina. We're going to talk with Trey Oliver, head coach of the North Carolina Central Eagles. And I see him right there. Good morning to you, Coach Oliver.
Good morning, Lynn. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Coming off a big road win over East Texas A&M and averaging over, 50 points a game during your 3-game winning streak. That's got to be encouraging. As you had a little time off. What's the main focus this past week for you and your 4-2 Eagles?
Well, we're at the halfway point right now, so we kind of wanted to let the guys get away and reset. The coach has got a day or two off, and we're able to focus on recruiting. And, obviously, we did a self-scout, so we can kind of see where we are, what we're doing, and trying to figure out a way to be more efficient in all 3 phases of the game. But, it was good to be able to get away for a second and watch other people play and just kind of regroup. So we're fresh. I thought we had a heck of a week of practice last week. Probably the best bye weeks I've had in my coaching career. So I was pleased with that. And I like the guys' energy and their level of focus. So excited for the week to get prepared for those rivals.
Okay, Coach. Well, let's talk about that because your full attention now is focused on FAMU and a trip to Tallahassee this Saturday at Bragg Stadium, which is a tough place to play. What concerns you most about this matchup? Plus, after the matchup, you get another week off, right?
That's it. Right. Well, we played the week 0 game, so kind of got started a week earlier than everybody else. But, obviously FAM is a storied program and traditionally a championship program. And, when we scheduled this game, it was right after they came off their championship celebration season. So we're excited to play those guys. Like I said, they're a good football team. They are very long and athletic. This is one of the more athletic teams that we have on our schedule this year. And, they're a seasoned group. I think they have over 50 transfers on their roster. So, obviously, it's going to be a long travel day to get down there. And then Bragg Stadium is a tough place to play. So, we're going to have to come in there, and the guys are going to be ready to roll. We cannot get up to a slow start and try to keep their fans out of the game and limit the mistakes, and hopefully we'll come out of there with the W.
Okay, Coach. That's it for me. Hold on just for a minute. Questions from the media. As a reminder, media, use the raise hand feature. Remain muted until you're introduced. I was a little generous on the first one, but I can't be generous from now on. So please limit your questions to just one for Coach Oliver. He got something else to do after he finishes with us. He got to get busy. Our first question will come this morning from, let's see who that's going to be. That's going to be Dwayne Nash. Dwayne, you're on.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you?
I'm well, Dwayne. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. You talked about how tough of a place it is to play in Bragg. The last time you actually faced this team, you were both MEAC members. Now, of course, you guys are in 2 different conferences. Can you talk about what this matchup means as it pertains to the reputation of the 2 conferences and how much of a rivalry is still there, even though you guys aren't in the MEAC still?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a rivalry between the 2 schools, but I love playing the SWAC teams out of the SWAC conference. And since I've been here, we've tried to play the top teams. When Alcorn was on top in 21, and obviously Southern was picked high this year, and FAM was coming off a championship run. So I'm all about playing SWAC schools. I've been calling a bunch of them down there, and I want to get a home and home. I'd love to get some SWAC teams up here in Durham so our fans can see them play. But I've been trying. Luckily, I got an opportunity to get this thing scheduled with the previous administration, and we got a home and home with them. So we go down there this year, and I think they come back to us in 27. But I enjoy playing SWAC schools, man, and it's all about, tough competitive teams. And that's what our schedule is all about. If you look at our non-conference schedule, we try to play the best of the best non-conference. But for all the SWAC schools, man, we're looking for some games. I need a game in 26. So if anybody interested, please call us.
Good point, Coach. Good luck this week down in Tallahassee.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, Dwayne. James Hill, you're on.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, James. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you talk a little bit about what you see from FAM on tape as far as their quarterback and their offensive side of the football? When you look at the Rattlers, what do you see so far?
Well, I see a big athletic team. I think up front, they have a solid offensive line. They don't have a lot of run throughs where guys are just running through clean. Then they have two big running backs that are athletic and physical downhill runners. And then on the perimeter, the number 1 kid and number 7. I'm sorry I don't have their names, but I think they have. I mean, those are probably 2 of the best receivers we've seen. And then obviously their quarterback. They got some transfers back to their quarterback, but they're just so athletic, man. On defense, they fly around, and they do some things defensively that can cause you problems. And then to get in the return game, I think is the number 7 kid again. He's an explosive player, and he's dangerous in the return game. So just across the board, they're just an athletic football team that can really cause you problems.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great week.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Thank you, James, for that. Dr. Caval, you're on. Dr. Cavill.
No problem. Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Oliver, how are you doing this morning?
I'm well. How are you doing, Doc?
I'm doing well. I'll make sure I spread the word that you're looking for matchup.
We are. I've called your school a couple times.
Yeah, I noticed. I went out there and I told them what's the problem, because I need to make that road trip anyway. In fact, I'm doing it this year, so I don't have a problem with them, and I'll do my part to make sure they understand. Let's play some MEAC football. Particularly, let's play North Carolina Central, the Eagles. Great matchup.
Yep.
With that being said, I want to ask you, over the last couple of weeks, your offense has been explosive. Literally, before the break, 3 weeks in a row, you've been able to score nearly 50-plus points in those matchups. But your defense has been solid, and FAMU has been, for the most part, having some concern or troubles with their offensive scoring, particularly. How do you see that matchup in terms of schematically, what you want to do with them defensively to maintain them not putting a lot of points on the board?
Right, I think we have improved in this area, but I think the biggest thing for us is explosive plays. We got to make people work for stuff, and we give up some chunk plays, man, and it's not 15 and 20-yard touchdowns. We've given up some 50 and 60-yard touchdowns. So I think we have improved in that area, but we have to continue to press that and stress that as far as we got to make people work for it, and we just can't give it up in those chunk plays like that. So FAM is explosive, and we have to limit. Obviously, their chunk plays and make them work for it. One thing about them, they do a good job of taking care of the football. I don't think their quarterback's thrown an interception this year. So we've got to be able to change some looks in the back end and try to confuse them a little bit so we can try to turn them over. But the big thing, like I said, is overall just limiting those explosive plays.
Good job, Coach. I was listening to that while I was doing it. I just sent text to Coach Jackson as well as Coach Dishman, and told them they need to give you a call about the schedule for the next couple of years. So
yeah, we got two airports in Houston, man.
Yeah, it's
we'll
not
pick
a
one to
problem.
fly down there.
Yeah, it's easy, and we're not gonna pay anybody any different money, but you can get direct flights. It's not a problem.
We appreciate that, Doc. We appreciate your consultanship on that. Okay, thank you so much for that. Darryl Duvall, you're up.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. It's a nice day. October's here. So I just want to kind of touch base with. So what did y'all emphasize in training this week? And really, I'm not training, but basically going through the weeks of practice and everything from the previous, especially from the last game. And what have y'all been concentrating on?
We spent a lot of time with technique and fundamentals. We didn't want to do a lot of banging against each other and do a lot of high-end running, a lot of sprinting and things of that nature. So it was a lot of group periods, a lot of teaching was going on, a lot of technique and fundamentals. That was the big thing we wanted to take away from last week, because I think that we must continue to develop our 2s and 3s. It's going to be a long season, and our backups, our 2s and 3s have got to be ready to roll. And I think it was a good week for us to continue to develop those guys. And I think that's going to be the big thing going down this stretch is those backups when they're getting in the games, them being ready to roll.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that, Darryl. Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Oliver. Our athletic director, Dr. Brian, I'm an Alabama A&M grad. He's going to be on my show tomorrow night. So, I'm definitely talking to him because I love to play you guys. But anyway, with that being said, you guys, obviously, with this game this Saturday and then the bye week next week, you're going to get into MEAC play after that next bye. How can you use this game specifically on Saturday to set yourselves up to get yourselves ready even further for the gauntlet ahead in the MEAC?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I said the biggest weeks of improvement are between 4, 5, and 6. So I think that we really need this win so we can have some momentum going into the bye week and then obviously can continue the rest of the season. But it's going to be big if we, to get this win and be able to go into conference play with some momentum. I think it's going to be huge. But, we're going to have our hands full. It's going to be a test going down here to Tallahassee. But I think, going into a bye week is much easier dealing with the bye week after a win than it is, you stub your toe and lose.
All right, Coach, good luck down there and dealing with a little bit of that heat down there in the afternoon, too. So good luck to your team this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that, Wayne. Now it's on to you, Stephen Gaither.
Definitely. And we've spent, the bulk of this, when we try to spend every week a little bit of the week recruiting. And bye week was, heavy recruiting, really locked into our board, our top guys, and we've been scheduling official visits that'll be coming up in the next week or so. But, I was gas tank philosophy. So we focus from Maryland to Georgia. We don't do much recruiting in Florida. We will go about high school down there and practice a little bit. But, I really try to focus within our region. And I think, being financially responsible from a recruiting budget standpoint, is huge. So we stay within our region, but recruiting has been on top of our priority list this bye week. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Next question for you, Coach, comes from Luke Williams. Luke.
Hey, Len, and hey, Coach. Luke Williams from the Black College Sports page here in Greensboro. Hey, Coach, I see you got your haircut ready for homecoming, first of all. But other than that, I want to ask you, with that week off, you talked about getting a chance to look at other people. Talk about, I noticed that your guy that played for you, Torricelli Simpkins, he started and played all of the game for the New Orleans Saints this week. I know Jamari Taylor, who played for you, went up to Virginia. He's had some big games. I think he scored the winning touchdown in overtime for the Cavaliers this week. And then, obviously, Brandon Cotrington. What I wanted to ask you is just talk about the relationship with those guys. Is it affected by the fact that some of them have gone and pursued other things, or these are guys that you keep up with and maintain a great relationship with?
Well, we try to keep up. Both of those guys, all those guys are busy like myself. So when we get an opportunity to text, it is good to keep up with them. But, we still have a Devontae Walker that played here as well, transferred to UNC Chapel Hill. Corey Bullock transferred. He's with the Baltimore Ravens. And one thing about all 5 of those guys, they were all high school student athletes that we recruited from high school. So, they came in and we developed them, and they're on to the National Football League. But it's just good to see those guys, their hard work and dedication pay off. Torricelli, like you said, starting. And, that's unbelievable. He came here on a partial scholarship and, ended up earning, obviously, a full scholarship. And for him to be starting in the National Football League says a lot about, when you look at our strength staff, Thomas Carroll, when you look at our offensive line coach and, what we do holistically in our program and developing these guys. So that's just, dropping the bucket from what we've done, with other guys. But, we're excited about the fact that those guys have opportunity to play on the National Football League. And we got a little while for homecoming, man. So I'm going to get another cut or two by then. But I'm glad you acknowledged it. I let my barber know that you approve.
Yeah, you look fine, Coach. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much for that, Luke. That's about it, Coach. We'll let you go on with thanks for stopping by today. The Eagles were off but they're back in action this week, y'all, and they'll be in Tallahassee, North Carolina Central at Florida A&M, the Eagles and the Rattlers, Saturday, October 11th at Bragg Memorial Stadium. It's going to be a 3 p.m. kickoff, and it's going to be covered by HBCU Go. Let's now go to Dover, Delaware. Our next interview is with the Delaware State head coach, Deshaun Jackson. Good morning to you, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Lee. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good, man. Monmouth. You had to go up against Monmouth on the road, and that game turned into a score fest. 49-38 by Monmouth wins it. You gave up no turnovers, but the Hawks erupted for almost, 600 yards of total offense, averaging almost 8 yards a play. They also had trouble stopping the Hornets. Coach, let's talk about this football game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a very tough battle. Hats off to Monmouth, did a great job there. Number 12 team in the FCS conference. We knew the challenge at hand, right? We came into that and knew we had to compete. One of the top offenses in the FCS conference as well too. So we was up against the odds, but we went out there. I'm very impressed with our guys. Our guys fought to the end. We was down 14 points in that game, and never tucked our tail. We just kept fighting to the end. And at the end of the day, I'm just happy where we're at right now. We're always trending on the way up, and we'll do a better job. Moving forward and taking care of our business day in and day out.
Coach, you answered the question I was going to ask you about. What did you learn about your team? But you've got a chance now to return home to regain much needed momentum against Southern Connecticut State. What's going to be the focus in game prep and practice this week as you prepare to play at home?
And just going back, I think I can't recall the last time we won a homecoming game first and foremost. That's kind of been a memo and what I've been hearing from our athletic director and the players, right? So I think maximum focus. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of distractions throughout the week. HBCU homecomings are very distracting, a lot going on. So just the level of discipline, the level of focus through our guys, and making the main thing the main thing. We need to win. We're on a 2-game losing streak. Obviously, it's been kind of tough on the road. We're 1-3 on the road, so 2-0 at home as well too. So we're just excited for the opportunity to play in front of our home fans, and do some great things again and get that momentum back going.
Okay, Coach, we're going to be watching out and looking out for that. Hold on just for a few. We've got some questions, and for the media reps, use your raise hand feature. Remain muted until you're introduced, and limit the questions to just one each for Coach Jackson. With that in mind, our first question comes from you, the Rod, Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Jackson, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, first and foremost, I was really excited watching that game against Monmouth. You guys had that game 35-35 at a point, man. So big shout out to you guys for playing that type of game against Monmouth. Now, my question that I have for you is kind of similar to the one I just gave your opponent coming up in 2 weeks. With this game this week, your homecoming, then you get a bye week, then you start the MEAC slate. Yeah. So heading into this game, and then having all things considered from what you've done up to this point, what do you guys think you need to do getting yourselves ready this week to prep yourselves into the bye week to start that MEAC slate?
Yeah, honestly, man, it's been an intriguing, position because, I always, kind of go back to the past, right? Coming into this scenario, dealing with one win teams, 2 years in a row, right? So, now we're sitting at, 3. We was 3-1, right? Now we just lost 2 back-to-back games, 3-3, correct? For us, we knew the challenge, right? We're going to be playing some tough games. We're going to be playing some tough teams. The main thing is always the main thing. Non-conference ball is a chance for us to get our identity. In my eyes, every game counts. So I'm not going to sit here and say non-conference game doesn't matter, but we knew we had to come in and play some tough teams in non-conference to get ready for conference ball. At the end of the day, the most important thing is MEAC, play ball, right? So, these games we've been playing, is just to get the grit, just figure out our identity, what we do well, what we don't do well. And, hopefully all the bad play is out by the time we get to MEAC ball. So we have another opportunity, this week. Hopefully we can go into our bye week at 4-3. In my eyes, it's a heck of a turnaround, for me, for our team, our identity, and what we're trying to accomplish here. So we just take one game at a time. You know, we know the odds are always stacked against us, you know, and every game we play is going to always be against us. And, you know, like I say, we take that on our chin and we look for the opportunity. But, you know, I can't say enough where, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, North Carolina Central as well, too, after this, you know, after this game right here, which is homecoming, then we got to bye, then conference play. But, you know, one game at a time, you can't skip, and hop too much before. And we're just focused on this game at hand. But once it gets there, we're going to be in great shape, ready for it.
Well, Coach, I think you're doing a really fine job up there in Dover. So good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Dr. Cavill.
Yeah, Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Jackson, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, Doc, I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm well. I want to talk about a particular player, your running back, number 6, Marquise Gillis. In that particular contest, he had 15 carries, 132 yards, and a touchdown, as you know, with that long of 73. But over the season, he's been really solid, getting things done. So I wanted to ask you, from your perspective, what makes him special and effective?
I mean, man, Marquise Gillis, man, he's a stump down individual, man. You know, he's a guy that, you know, does all the right things. He answers the questions, right? He wants to be good, unselfish player, right? Obviously, we have a lot of running backs in our running back room that can take, you know, the force at any given time. But, you know, he's a guy that shows up to work. He's prepared. He's the first one on the field and one of the last ones off the field, right? So, you know, as you see in those games, man, when he's patient, you know, his vision as well. I mean, he trusts his blockers, he trusts his teammates, and, you know, he's pressing, man. He's pressing to do everything he can to help the success of the team. You know, he's a success team first guy, and then obviously everything else that comes after that is individual. But, you know, he wants to win, man. He's challenging the guys around him, and you know, when he shows up, he shows out. So those are the type of guys, or glue guys, or grit guys, and those are the type of guys that you can win with and win on your team as a head coach.
Certainly. Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup this weekend. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. The next question for you, Coach, comes from James Hill.
Coach, how you doing this morning?
Hey, James, I'm good. And yourself, man?
I'm blessed. Talk a little bit about being a leader of men in 2 different ways. As a head coach on the sideline with the headset, putting in, you know, a situation all week for a victory. And then the other concept is going out as a player where you can get 2 or 3 touchdowns receiving. What's the difference, and what's it been like for you to kind of coach these gentlemen up?
Yeah, well, you know, going into every game, man, you know, it's crazy the feeling that you get as being a coach, a guy that, you know, played at a high level as well, too, man. It's almost like I'm preparing to basically be in combat with my players, even though I'm physically not playing. I'm in my mind, it's physically like I'm going to battle and to work every day with my guy, with my soldiers, right? And it's crazy you asked that, because this week on the field before the game, I say, man, y'all boys don't know, man. In my mind, I'm suiting up with y'all, man. In my mind, I'm out there playing the game. Obviously, I can't affect the game, but in my mind, man, I'm out there and I'm trooping with my guys, man. And I think it's just a great feeling for those players to feel like, man, you got a head coach that trusts and believes in you, and everything you're doing, you're allowing them to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't expect no man to be perfect. I've expressed that to y'all before. The biggest thing for me is effort, man. You got a will to want, you know, you got to put the effort out there. Energy is everything. You know, we speak on energy, you know, within life. I mean, when you have positive things and you speak on positive things happen. The moment you start creating negativity and, you know, bickering with each other, fighting with each other, then, you know, bad things are going to happen. So that's what we preach. You know, it's unfortunate I can't affect the game like I would love to, go out there and score 3 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, when my boys are playing at a high level and they're having success, I'm having it as well too. And then even when we don't have the success, you know, I'm enduring it with them as well too, with the pains and, you know, the struggles as well too. So, I mean, it's a thin line between it, but everything we do, you know, is all to win football games.
Thank you, Coach, and keep up the great work you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Darryl Duvall.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Darryl, I'm good. And yourself, brother?
Hey, I just want to kind of go back to some of the stuff that you just said, and how do you build on the offensive success while tightening up the defensively next week? And then you also talk about some of the tribulations that you've gone through with bickering and all that. How do you kind of tighten all that stuff up is going into the MEAC conference play?
Yeah. I mean, offensively, right? We can talk, phases. Offensively, man. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? One thing about stats and statistics, they don't lie, right? Number one offense, right? We hold that heavily, right? We have the crown for that, and we have it for a reason. When we talk about rushing the ball, when we talk about scoring points, right? Total yards, like all that stuff, man, we're doing great in. Right. In the pass game, we can clean it up. We know that. And we're going to keep challenging our guys to clean up in the passing game. Going through going through the ins and outs of a full football game, right? Our offense, man, is unstoppable, and we understand that. On defense, we gotta buck up and get more stops. We get stops here and there, but we can't allow teams to put up 600 plus yards, put up 40 points, like right at the end of the day, because we know on offense we're gonna score 30 plus points, right? So if we can get a few more stops on defense and play more complimentary football, man, this team will be very dangerous, right? And the special teams. We've been doing a good job. We're cutting down on penalties, and guys are playing fast and playing physical. So, I mean, we clean up that defensive play, man. We're going to be a dangerous team, which we already are a dangerous team, right? But we get a few more stops. We control the discipline side of it. I mean, all in hindsight, man, this team is going to be a very dangerous team, man. By the time we get into the MEAC play.
Thank you, Coach. Again, I feel like just like you said, once you get taking care of that stuff that you just basically said, I think you will be a dangerous team.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
On the field.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Daryl. On to you now, Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Andy. I'm good, man. How you doing?
All right. Hey, it looks like you were only called for 3 penalties on Saturday. How were you able to get that number down, and what did that mean, during the game? How did that help you?
Man, blessings to me and the guys, man. I mean, honestly, in that sense, man, that's what we preach, right? We preach and we practice that every day in practice, and we go out there and we execute, right? Execution has to be at an all-time high. Midway point here, we done played 6 games, right? The identity is what it is, right? So, as you seen, as long as we're able to clean that up, man, we're gonna have a chance in any game. Right. And like I just talked on, once the defense starts striking on all phases as well, too, from the run game to the pass game and just being where they're supposed to be as a whole. I mean, like I said, sky is the limits for us. And, going through this process, we understood coming into this, right? No one's going to believe in us, and we don't expect nobody to. But I guarantee one thing. I know it's a lot of eyebrows raised and a lot of eyes looking like, man, what they're doing over there is very special. And it's happened way, way faster than a lot of people probably even thought of, right? So yet again, we still haven't accomplished nothing. We still haven't done anything. We still have a lot of work to be done and to be accomplished. But as a head coach, man, I'm very, when I sit back and assess it, I'm very pleased with the guys. I'm not content, right? There's no complacency, and it's foot to the pedal all the time, foot to the gas, and that's how we have success, and that's how we accomplish what we want to accomplish, because the standard would be the standard, and it won't be dumbed down for anybody.
Thanks.
Sir.
Thank you, Andy. Next, Kevin Tresolini.
Hey, Deshaun, you've alluded to the defense's need to get more stops. You guys have been very prolific offensively, but kind of struggled defensively. What have you and your staff identified as specific areas where you guys have to get better and certainly can get better defensively?
Yeah, man. In all honesty, as a head coach who's an offensive mind, I'm very in tuned to defensive play, right? Playing at a high level in the NFL, having the career I had, I wouldn't be able to be as successful if I was without having the insight on defense, right? So I played defense in high school as well. And for me, man, it's just making it simple, right? I think at times, and specifically defensive line and linebackers, right? And then the cornerback position as well, too. I think our safety play is maybe the strength on our defense right now, but the D line, the linebackers, and the corner play, just really making sure they're in position, right? Making sure guys are in the run fit. Trying to not make it as complicated. I think at times we may, try to do some stunts, some pinches. May have guys hit certain holes, and I think sometimes it may be a little too much. So as a coach, we kind of have to step back and take it for what it's worth. Maybe not put too much on them, right? Maybe simplify it a little bit more, but. We're addressing it what we need to address. We're gonna clean it up, and what I will say is guys want to do the right thing. Guys have the will to it, but at times, we need to be a little tougher. We need to be a little more aggressive, right? And be the aggressor instead of sitting back waiting for guys to be aggressive to us.
Thanks much, Coach. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it for us today, Coach. Wishing you the best this week. Homecoming in Dover. Del State will host Southern Connecticut State Saturday, October 4th in Dover, 12 noon kickoff on ESPN+. Our next interview of the morning happens with Norfolk State head coach Michael Vick. Good morning to you, Coach Vick.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good. Coach, the Battle of the Bay was a good one. You built an early lead in the Battle of the Bay, just couldn't hold it, and you lose a close one, 41-34 over at Hampton. You put up 34 points. Spartans are putting up a lot of points. What were the keys to this game, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think for us, the key to the game, and, as I went back and watched it all boiled down to the amount of penalties that we had and the two turnovers that I think we had. You take those two factors away, I think we get out of the stadium with a win. But unfortunately for us, we put ourselves in that position. And so our guys have to learn not to put themselves in that position, to play with more focus and more discipline and more detail. And so it feel like I'm singing the same song every week. But they got to learn, and we got to keep coaching them on it. So, eventually we'll find the ones who's going to do it the right way. That's all I can say.
Coach, it's a process, and as this process continues, it also takes you on a journey, and that journey takes you to Wofford of the Southern Conference this weekend. Tell us about Wofford, what you found out about this ball club, and how has yours responded so far after the setback from Saturday in your meetings?
Yeah, I think in terms of Wofford, they're a very disciplined football team. They're going to come out and play the way they play. They're not going to try to be fancy. They're going to line up and play you and make you beat them, and make you put yourselves in a position, to have bad plays and make bad plays. So I think for us, it's about believing in what we do, being disciplined, being detailed, being more focused in the moment, and not being anxious or overzealous to make things happen. I think we get caught up in that, especially early in games, and it's cost us at times. And so I got to continue to hammer the details and the focus, when you're in the moment, without a doubt.
Okay, Coach, hold on just for a second. We've got some questions coming to you from the media. As a reminder, media, use the raise hand feature, remain muted until you're introduced, and let's limit your questions to just one for Coach Vick. First question for you, Coach, this morning comes from, let's see, Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Coach Vick, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Wayne.
Coach, so you guys with two more turnovers, that brings your you guys have committed 12 giveaways this year in opposition to only taking the ball away 5 times. And in this game, you had 17 penalties for 158 yards. And even with that, Hampton also had 13 penalties. So with the way this game was played, it seems like it's been almost a little bit of a similarity to some of the previous ones you played. So with all this said, with the penalties and the turnovers, heading into Saturday and even into MEAC play coming ahead, what are some of these crucial things that you and the staff needs to do to be able to mitigate these penalties and get that turnover margin tighter?
Yeah, and you said a little bit, that it's been a lot. That's been our season. If you go back and recap the body of work, it's been a lot of good, but it's been a lot of penalties, and it's been a lot of turnovers. And you can't play football that way. We know that. I tell our team all the time, we can't play the game going backwards. And so if you tally up all the penalties and you tally up the turnovers, we played the game going backwards and on our heels. And when we do decide to play, we play a good brand of football. But what we have to continue to teach and preach is that, every play, has its own story. And so, we got to find ways to consistently be focused in the moment and not give the games away. Because right now we're giving them away. and there's no excuse for it. It's a position that we're putting ourselves in, and as coaches, we got to continue to hop on the details and strengthen more focus. I almost thought like last week was our best week of practice, and our discipline and things that we're trying to accomplish off the field was going to translate on the field, and we got better off the field, but we didn't let it translate on the field. So I got to make the two stick like glue, and that's what I'm going to continue to preach and hop on, and I'm going to be on my coaches really, really hard this week about that.
Well, Coach Vic, I appreciate you as always, and good luck this week down there in Spartanburg.
Thank you.
Great points, great points. Dr. Cavill.
Yeah, Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Vic.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I got the chance to see this matchup in person. I was there. Dr. Banks over there with you at Norfolk State invited me in and showed me the hospitality that I know y'all have in Spartan Country. So thank you for that. You alluded to those 2 turnovers, and I agree. A lot of momentum was taken away with that. But I wanted to talk about a particular player, Xavier Evans, 21 carries, 93 yards, and got in the end zone. I had that long as 16. Seen him play really well. Your team fought back and even got into a 1-score game and couldn't quite get that needed defensive stop before Hampton was able to close it out. Talk a little bit about getting through that process of, even though you have the costly turnovers, still having a team that fights through it and gives give yourself a chance to be in position maybe to tie the game, if not find a way to win it.
I think with all the factors, that's what hurts even more, is knowing that we're in the game, every step of the way, and never really out of the game unless we take ourselves out of the game. The 2 turnovers came at inopportune times, I will say that. We had momentum, opportunities to gain the lead, and, not saying, you try to stick to your strategy and you want to, create opportunities in the run game, and then, it goes in the wrong direction, so to speak. And then playing through it, continuing to believe, continuing to fight hard, and play our game. And so, down the stretch when we had that last drive, I thought we put ourselves in a position, using the clock, using our timeouts to get the ball back. And then, we get them in at 3rd and 10, and that's when you got to close that out. You got to get off the field right there. And so, yeah, that was a tough one, but it's up to me to step up and lead and coach off of that moment and make sure that when that moment arrives again, like we pursue to the ball, we tackle, we recognize what's happening, and we play with a great level of concentration in that moment. And so, got to continue to hop on the details, man. And I'm learning that this is just so important, this group of young men, to make sure that, for 60 minutes, they align their focus. And so, I'm continuing to work on it each and every day, and I look forward to working at it this week.
Thanks, Coach Vic, for your specificity, and good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup.
Got it.
On to you, James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody in NSU Nation are well. How's it going, sir?
You're doing great. We're hanging in there. Thank you. I appreciate you.
My man. Question, talk a little bit about the difference between playing and coaching. As a quarterback, you can go out and dominate and do what you have to do to manufacture and basically dictate and get a win, a victory. But as a coach, it's different because you're not on the field. Just tell us a little bit about the difference in trying to win ball games.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about trust. And, as a player, my coach just trusted me with the game plan, the entirety of the game plan, however many plays we had in the game plan to go out and execute. Also, the other 10 guys I was on the field with, defense and special teams included, and that's 33 people with a responsibility. So, the trust factor, has to be there. And being on this side now, being a coach, it's like I got to trust even more. I got to trust that they understand the game plan. I got to trust that, discipline is going to be primary. And so, while I'm trying to trust that they have their focus, it's still a crazy, experience for me being a former player, being able to see everything more clearly now, but at the same time, you know, gotta stay can't get frustrated, you know, gotta stay composed, you know, can't get, you know, out of character because, you know, everybody's watching. And I want to continue to lead, you know, from a positive and encouraging standpoint. But sometimes it's just hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's with a coach or a player, you know, and I got to let my emotions show. So I'm learning that, you know, my emotional ties to this game somewhat got to be even killed, but, you know, I can let it go, you know, from a coach and player's perspective, if that makes sense. And so that's always going to be a part of me, in me, and that's what's going to make me coach and teach harder.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Darryl Duvall.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, I just wanted to kind of just follow back up. Coach, this was another offensive shootout. What do you see from your offense that you like most? And I mean, that's the offense, because I mean, you are an offensive person.
Yeah. You know, offensively, you know, I can kind of look at the makeup of our offense, and you know, we always, you know, have good stuff in our offense going into each and every week versus what, you know, the opposition gonna do. We always feel good about our plan. I think the only thing we do is we create bad negative situations for ourselves, you know, whether it's, you know, just through turnovers or maybe you know, a penalty here or there, and that set us back. You know, other than that, you know, I like the pace, I like the flow. You know, I feel like our quarterbacks have a great understanding of what we're trying to accomplish, you know, on a weekly basis. And so what we got to do is we got to get that in all three phases and get everybody to be locked in and get everybody to be confident in what they're doing and what the plan is, and you know, ultimately put it all together. But offensively, we got to continue to work hard, continue to get better. And you know, I know just from that process, it's about getting better each and every week, getting better up front first and foremost, and understanding what you know, the opposition is going to try to do, and just make sure that they don't duplicate it from the week prior. So we try to stay on top of that. But pleased with the offense, but they know they got to continue to get better and put points up.
Well, good luck this weekend, Coach.
And thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Darryl. On to you, Stephen Gaither.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, this is, you know, opportunity for them to continue to, you know, search for greatness. You know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's going to be our mantra, and still so much to play for. They also have their pride as well. You know, they got their families and they got themselves. And so, you know, I've never been in this situation where, you know, I've completely given up in football. And, you know, I think we got enough young men in that locker room to stay locked in and stay tight, and got a bunch of young, hungry players as well. And so I'm looking forward to everybody getting an opportunity. We've been teaching these guys since the spring, you know, fall camp, and now, you know, the ones that want to commit, the ones that's going to be focused, the ones that's going to be detailed are going to play. I'm just not going to tolerate anything, because it's issues outside of football that we have to deal with every day as a coach, and that they have to deal with as players. And so you got to merge all that together to be complete football players. And until I find that complete group, those guys that is going to do it right, I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, the question of guys just staying locked in, not giving up. You know, I know the effort is going to be there, full throttle. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Stephen. Final question for you this morning, Coach, comes from Ray Rogers from the Urban Sports Scene.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Just a quick question. You have a relationship with guys like Coach Dungy and Jay Johnson. Who are you relying on and leaning on during this tough stretch to give you advice and help you navigate this?
You know what, man? at this point, I don't. All my coaches are in season. You know, I may get a text here and there, but you know, I can't rely on my past coaches to get me out of these situations because I know exactly why we're in this situation. You know, I mean, if I didn't know, you know, if we was, you know, not executing, you know, on in one phase, or you know, maybe not putting up points, or maybe not being in games, you know, I would have some questions as to, you know, all right, what am I doing wrong? What could I do better? But it's like when I cut the film on, I can see what we're doing wrong, what we can do better, and just teaching off that, coaching off that, and you know, the underlying issues that we have sometimes is, you know, I'll get the same response from everybody, and so I know, you know, that it's up to me to create the right culture, you know, here in SU. And so as I work to do that, you know, I got to continue to focus on football as well, but I got to make these young men well-rounded, and that's on and off the field. So, you know, as I work on that, just you know, I'm going to try to continue to get the best out of them, but it's just more responsibility around here now, and that's just the way it's got to be.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Freddie. Coach, thank you for your time today. I know you got to get back to work, and we're wishing you nothing but the best. This weekend, it's going to be the Norfolk State Spartans traveling to Wofford of the Southern Conference Saturday, October 11th in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's going to be a 1:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN+. Let's head on down to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Head coach Chennis Berry of the South Carolina State Bulldogs is with us today. Coach Berry, how you doing?
How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. After a two-game skid, homecoming was the right atmosphere for a huge win to work out the bugs, wasn't it?
Bulldog Nation showed up, showed out. Man, it was really good to be able to come home, play in front of our home crowd. Found a way to go 1-0. You know, for us, that's our mission. Thought we did some good things all three phases. We were able to score in all three phases. And when you do that, you give yourself a chance to win a football game. So we accomplished the mission, and it feels good around here in Bulldog Nation.
Yeah, Coach, you know, a lot of distractions homecoming. How did you stay focused to get it done?
Well, that's part of the process for us. You know, we just try to be locking in on the main thing. I tell our guys all the time at homecoming, you know, the activities are not for you. You know, the biggest party on campus is going to be at 1:30 when that ball kicks off. So we had a great crowd. Guys played well, found a way to win a football game.
Okay. Well, looking ahead, you got a big one on the road at A&T. What can you tell us about the Aggies, Coach, and how the Bulldogs plan to win this one? Talk to us about it.
Well, you know, you're talking about an old MEAC rival right there, man. You know, A&T, South Carolina State, and it'll be fun. You know, our young men will be prepared to go down to Greensboro, North Carolina, man. I know Coach Gibbs is going to have his team ready to go. I've gone against Coach Gibbs quite a lot of times, our time in SIAC, as well as, you know, we had an opportunity to play them when he was at Fort Valley last year. They came up here for a game. So, you know, all in all, we'll be ready to go. We'll get a chance to go against, I think, a good North Carolina A&T football team that we're going to have to play our best game to come away from there 1-0.
Okay, Coach. Congratulations on the big homecoming win over Savannah State. Our prayers are with the campus community after the unfortunate incident on campus. We're going to stand in solidarity and prayer with the Bulldog Nation. Hold on for some questions from the media. For the media reps, continue to use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Limit your questions to just one each for Coach Berry. And our first question comes from James Hill.
Coach, how you doing, sir?
Mr. Hill, how you doing today, sir?
Blessed. Talk a little bit about your quarterback room. You have two gentlemen, Mr. Atkins and obviously Mr. Stubblefield. They're both contributing and putting up numbers to help the Bulldogs win. How do you do that when you have two gentlemen and they're both playing and helping the team?
Well, we're kind of settled on one guy. You know, Ryan Stubblefield has been the starting quarterback last couple of weeks. But, you know, at the end of the game, we were up pretty good. And about midway through the third quarter, we put Billy in, and Billy went in and played lights out. I mean, we have two really good quarterbacks. I've been saying that since day one. It's important for them to get valuable in-game reps because either one of those guys have never been the starter before. So when they can get valuable in-game reps, and for us, we wanted to play 60 minutes. You know, we have been playing great 30-minute halves, but we had yet to put a good 60-minute game together. So, you know, we played all the way to the end, and You know, Ryan did some good things. He missed a few things, but he did some good things. And then Billy came in and really played really well. So we're fortunate here at South Carolina State to have two really good quarterbacks, and we're going to use them if time permits. And then we get an opportunity to use those guys to win a football game.
Good luck this week, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks so much, James. Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Good morning, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. You talked about your coaching pass against Coach Gibbs. Can you talk about what it's like coaching against Coach Gibbs and the Coach Gibbs-led team?
I'll tell you what, Coach Gibbs does a good job, man. You know, he's going to have his guys sound. They're going to play really good defense, and they're going to be trying to run the football. I mean, nothing really changed. He's come from that tree of Broadway, and Coach Washington, he comes from that tree. So, you know, they get it. They used to winning. So, you know, like I say, we're going to have our team ready to go. I respect Coach Gibbs and his program and what he's trying to build down there at North Carolina A&T. But I got to make sure them dogs ready to go, and them dogs will be ready to hunt when we go down to Greensboro this upcoming Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. And as an Aggie whose birthday is going to be on Saturday, I'm going to ask that you kind of calm down on your dogs being ready to hunt a little bit this weekend so I can at least enjoy my homecoming a little bit.
I can't promise that, but hey, man, happy birthday to you, though.
Thank you so much, Coach. I thought I'd go ahead and beg for a little bit of mercy here.
Okay, the next question for you comes from Stephen Gaither.
Well, condolences to the families that were affected in this deal. But, you know, I have to make sure that I check on my team and make sure everybody's good and we're all safe and sound. And those guys are locked in. We had a great practice on Sunday. And, you know, the main thing is to go out and try to go 1-0. So, you know, the safety and the well-being of our young men is extremely important. And that's my number one priority, to make sure we're ready to go. But as I said before, man, my condolences go out to the families affected through this terrible, terrible, terrible situation. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Steve. On to the next question from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As you start moving down this season, in some ways it's the midway point. As you do your analysis, where do you believe your team is as you start to move into this next matchup, which essentially after this you get into MEAC play as well? Talk about the framework of the mentality and where would you set a grade for what you've done thus far this season?
Well, first of all, good morning to you as well.
Thank
you know,
you.
I like where we're at, man. You know, people forget, Dr. Cavill, man, that we're only in year 2. I know we came in year 1 and made some things happen pretty fast and won it all in year 1, which is not really common. So I get it. We're in year 2. We're going in the right direction. We're right in the halfway point of the year. We won 3, we lost 3, and I'm a firm believer in this, man. You know, God has us exactly where we're supposed to be. Because if it was supposed to be anywhere else, we would be there. So we are exactly where we're supposed to be. Guys are working extremely hard. They're bought into the process. It's about the process. It's about the culture. And we're still building the culture. I mean, that's an everyday process. And again, when you have so many newcomers, people fail to realize we had a great team last year, right? 2024, great team. Guess what? We had 1 returning starter coming back on offense and 2 on defense. Where else in America does that happen? So we had to put pretty much a whole new team together. And we're still building this thing, man. And the guys they're so excited. They understand what Bulldog Nation is all about. They understand that there's an expectation around here to win. And we like in an environment like that. The expectation is to win. It was great, man, to see all the Bulldogs come back from homecoming. We had droves and droves of people. They came back, happy families, man. They came back to be able to see their old friends and loved ones, man. It's great to be on the last. I thought about it the other day, Dr. Cavell. I've been on the HBCU campus at homecoming for the last 34 years of my life. And since I've been 18 years old, man, so it's always a great thing, man. And, you know, we accomplished the mission. We found a way to go 1-0, man.
Man, that's a beautiful way to think about it. That's a great opportunity to share, teach, and love that HBCU sports culture, as I like to earn it. And appreciate what you do. Appreciate the global perspective that you provide holistically of what that looks like. Good luck this weekend, Coach, and look forward to the matchup.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cavell. Always good.
Thank you, Doc. Coach, that looks like that's it for us, for you today. I know you got to get back to work, getting ready for this big trip to Greensboro. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a good one. South Carolina State at North Carolina A&T, Saturday, October 11th at Truist Stadium in Greensboro, North Carolina, 1 p.m. kickoff. I believe that's going to be on Flow Sports. Thanks so much. Let's go now to Baltimore, to the national treasure, head coach Damon Wilson of the Morgan State Bears. Good morning to you, Coach Wilson.
Hey, good morning, Lynn. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Checking on you because that was a heartbreaker, Coach, at the last minute. You never want to lose one like that on a Hail Mary, Coach. To battle back, take the lead, and lose it on a Hail Mary, what happened, Coach?
Bottom line, we didn't handle situational football well. You know, it started offensively. We had a situation where we was trying to milk the clock down and punt it on 4th down. We end up getting the snap and kind of running the play, so that kind of messes up there. We're taking some more time off the clock. And then we didn't play the ball well with last play of the game. You know, they had to complete I think got them 3rd and 49 for lack of a better term, just because they had to score the ball. 7 seconds left. The quarterback threw a good ball up there. We didn't play the ball well in the air, and receiver made a play, lost the ball game. I was really proud of the guys battling back. We were down 14-0, battling back and taking the lead. But we didn't handle situational football well at all at the end, and that's something that we got to continue to work on and talk about at practice.
Coach, looking ahead, you get a chance to fix some things at home this weekend. The Virginia Lynchburg comes calling this weekend. There's no place like home. What is the most pressing thing for you to fix at this point?
Consistency, just playing consistent. That's the biggest thing for us right now. We're not playing consistent in all phases, so we want to play consistent. Work on the little things this week to go into a bye week, coming out of a win. That's the goal, so we can be ready to rock and roll for conference play. But we have some work to do. Started yesterday. We sat and watched the entire game against Georgetown, and just want to be consistent this week in practice. Hopefully, get some guys back health wise, and then we're ready to rock and roll for conference play after this week.
Coach, I think that everybody on this call had their heart broken just like you did. But let's turn our attention now to the questions from the media. And I see Ray laughing at that too. Ray Rogers is the first one up. Let's remember to use the raise hand feature. We'll unmute you. And then also let's limit it to one question each for Coach. Having said that, Ray, you're on.
Yeah, tough one, Coach. We all felt it. Y'all right about that. But I just want to look at some of the positives. And one of them was my guy Leatherberry. I know he's on every team scouting report, but I know he didn't return that punt, but he was close. And I felt like that was the spark. Would you agree that was kind of the turning point, how you kind of, got your team back in the game after that point?
He definitely gave us some energy with his return. Definitely gave us some energy. And another part was Keith Jenkins in the kick return game opened up the second half with a real strong positive return. That gave us some good, some good energy as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, James Hill, you're next.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone in Baltimore are well today. Just talk a little bit about this ball club as you move forward and you have another opportunity to kind of put that behind and move forward. And home cooking is always good.
Yeah, I mean, these guys understand how to, move to the next play, move to the next game. We talked about it a good deal yesterday in meetings and everything. We went through situations. We talked through situations. They understood what we were trying to get done, and I understood their thought process. And like I said, at practice, we must hit these situations more and more, just because it comes second nature. We had two young guys or guys that weren't quote unquote starters in situations they hadn't been in the game time. So now if you're not a starter, you're not a number one, you still got to get those mental reps. reps, and that's something that we emphasized, yesterday in the meetings, and we will continue to emphasize throughout practice. But it's definitely good to be home. Definitely good to be in front of our home crowd at homecoming. So we're looking forward to a real festive campus this weekend. And our guys understand the game is our focus, and that's what we'll be paying attention to for Saturday.
Good luck against VUL, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Dwayne Nash, you're on.
Morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Dwayne. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Outside of the fact that I know you don't want to talk about what happened this past weekend, I thought it was a little rough. I woke up to local news here in D.C. with them actually showing highlights of that game when they rarely show any Georgetown football at all. But I digress. I'm not even going to snitch and say what network that was. But I have to ask, I'm a little curious, I'm a little ignorant when it comes to situations like this. How do you scout for a program like a Virginia Lynchburg that doesn't play any national, well, not national, but any televised games at all?
Dwayne, it's a little tough. They play teams all over at Division I level, Division II level. So, you got to rely on some of your relationships and talk to some people they may have played. But the biggest thing for us is really it's about us. That's the message to the guys, message to the coaches. You try to pick up some tendencies and personnel on film, but the reality is you're not going to have a lot of good quality film. So that first drive or two maybe have to use that as an indication of what they're trying to get accomplished. But all in all, it's about us. At this point in the season, we've pretty much seen every stunt and blitz, and we've probably seen a lot of passing concepts and all that good stuff. It's just a matter of executing and applying your rules to the situation to get us out of it. So, we're going to spend a lot of time just focusing on us and our responsibilities, and we should be in good shape on Saturday.
Lynn, do I have time for another quick question?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We're running a little ahead right now.
Okay. One last question, Coach. Tim Newman, the head coach over there at VUL. I know both of you guys have CIAA ties. How familiar are you with Coach Newman?
Well, just through the game, we haven't necessarily broke bread together or anything, but just through the, being in the coaching game for a while and understand what he's trying to do at VUL, and we have maybe a conversation a year or so. But I respect Coach and I respect everything he's doing with regard to this program.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week at homecoming.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Coach. The next question comes from Darryl Duvall.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Darryl. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to say, what is your message to the team after back-to-back competitive games like this one that you just came from?
Well, the first one we came out on a winning end of it, and we finished that one well. And this one right here, we didn't execute like we practiced, for lack of a better term. So understand to never get too high, never get too low, have an even kill. Understand the little things matter. Understand that, hey, if you're not a 1 or 2, you still got to get the mental reps and be prepared when your number's called. There's a lot of messages in this deal here. It's a lot of messages for me as a coach and my coaching staff. There's a lot of things that we took away from this thing with regards to, hey, how many times did we practice this situation or how many times did we practice that situation? So we had those conversations yesterday and just making sure these guys are seeing it and hearing it over and over again. So once, game time comes, that it's not new to them.
All right. Well, good luck this week, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
you. Thank you.
Thank you. The final question for you, Coach, comes from Kayla Sweezy.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to ask you about special teams specifically and just the impact that you're seeing from them this season so far.
At first, we started off a little slow, and now we picked some things up a little bit. I think we had 2 blocked field goals this past week, had 1 last week. We have yet to, score on kick return or punt return, but that's something that, that's been a mainstay in our program. So we're looking forward to getting Keith Jenkins and Malik and those guys in the end zone in our kick return game. But all in all, not bad. I think our freshman kicker is doing a good job, Alex. He had to go double duty, and then we got Chris back this week. So, all in all, I think special teams are definitely are playing well. We're playing with a lot of energy. Got a lot of young guys down there making plays, which is good. We're going to need to play sound special teams in order to have a successful run at the end of this deal.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Kayla. Coach, that's it for us. We wish you a very happy homecoming as you take care of great practice this week in anticipation of a big game against the University of Virginia Lynchburg. That's going to be Morgan State against UVL Saturday, October 11th in Baltimore, 1 p.m. kickoff on ESPN Plus.
Thanks,
So
Len.
that's about it for this week, y'all. This concludes our weekly MEAC Football Coaches Video Conference presented by our great partners, Wells Fargo. Before the end of the conference, we'd like to thank all that assisted and participated in today's video conference. The MEAC would also like to thank its corporate partners for their continued support of the conference and its elite 8-member institutions. You know, as a reminder, the next video conference is next Monday. That's going to be at 10 a.m. For more information on MEAC football and other sponsored events and sports, visit MEACsports.com. Follow the MEAC on social media at MEAC Sports on Facebook, on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. So let's go on out, y'all, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next Monday. Take care.
Thanks, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you. Have a
Have
blessed
a great
week.
one, y'all.
Thank you.
The biggest